Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to News Dose. And if you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, then today has been a good day, a really good day, as they just revealed 10 more games for the first half of April, and then actually yet another game that will be releasing in May as well, some of which are highly interesting. I think this is actually a fantastic start for the month of April, so we're gonna go over that one later on in the video. And then also, Epic Games had an event today for Unreal Engine 5 where they made several announcements, including a brand new game that's coming from one of the most beloved franchises of all time. Yes, it's been a very exciting day so far. But let me ask, are you a fan of gaming? Because if you are and you like to stay up to date with all of the gaming news, make sure to hit that bell notification and subscribe button below, and I'll make sure to keep you updated Monday through Friday every single week. Other than that though, let's just go and jump right into the video, starting off with a Nintendo Switch port that will be releasing on April 12th, being 13 Sentinels. This is a game that released back in 2019 exclusively for the PlayStation 4, which I always thought was a bit of a weird decision. I'll kind of get back to that here in just a moment, but since it released, it has been praised for its overall beautiful art style and what many fans consider as one of the flat-out best story-driven games that released last generation. And when you pair that with Vanillaware's beautiful art style, this makes for a very special game. Unfortunately though, 13 Sentinels is still a bit of a niche game. It's like part visual novel, part strategy RPG, and it's really good for what it is, but at the same time, I feel like it needed more exposure rather than it releasing exclusively on a PlayStation 4. For that matter, Vanillaware games have always fit perfectly on handheld consoles, and we really saw that with the PlayStation Vita. Of course, when 13 Sentinels released in 2019, the Vita was out the door, so it made sense that they didn't release it on there, but at the same time, the Switch kind of seems like a perfect follow-up, and I always felt like, why did they not release it on the Switch in the first place? I mean, this is an Atlas published game, so I probably shouldn't be overly surprised. They tend to make all kinds of odd decisions. But nonetheless, 13 Sentinels will finally be making its debut this April 12th. And even better yet, if there was ever a question on whether or not this game will be a good port for the Switch or not, well, the answer has kind of been answered here, as reviews have started to roll out today. 13 Sentinels currently does sit at a 90 overall score on Metacritic as of this recording, so absolutely outstanding. And again, if you do like story-driven games, you might want to check this game out when it releases for the Switch this April 12th. Alright, so next up here, we're going to talk about the mysterious Blue Box Studios and their upcoming PlayStation 5 game, Abandoned. Now, if you all have been following this story for a while, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding this studio and game, and it's pretty easy to find out why. Really, it's because Blue Box Game Studios continues to put themselves in weird positions. I know it wasn't necessarily their fault that fans were speculating that Abandoned could possibly be a secret Hideo Kojima project. That might not have been their fault, but since then they have done some weird things, including alluding to that this was some type of Silent Hills project. It's absolutely not, but yes, they have once again put themselves in yet another weird position. It was discovered last week that they had deleted several of their tweets on Twitter. You can actually check out this comment here made by Lance McDonald. Blue Box Game Studios have now deleted most tweets that describe specific future plans for their game Abandoned. 3 months ago, they said that there would be a playable demo, quote-unquote, soon, and also previously tweeted a lie about the reason the trailer app was 6 GB was because it actually contained way more footage, but it just needed a small patch to fix a tech issue. After many months passed, all these tweets have been deleted. I don't think that game ever existed. And I think a lot of people are starting to lean in that direction now. It was actually spotted in the past that they do have a shady history of announcing games and then never actually releasing them. So there's already been some speculation that this is some type of scam. But even then, Blue Box Game Studios, they have continued to deny these reports, and they do insist that this game does indeed exist and that it has not been canceled. In fact, over the last couple of days, they have appeared in several interviews, including with IGN. In this interview, he continues to make a lot of excuses for what's happened with this game, but on top of that, and this is just kind of the icing on the cake here, but he is claiming that they are planning to release a paid prologue, which will be its own individual game. Yeah, that's just kind of where we are with this game by this point. if this game does exist, and that is a big if right now, then either show it or don't, but stop with all the excuses. Blue Box Studios are not doing themselves any favors by doing these interviews, so just please stop. Either show the game or don't. Moving on, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan has confirmed that they are still planning for more studio acquisitions after the Haven and Bungie acquisition. Now, I don't think that this is necessarily overly surprising considering some of the past statements that they have made, but this is just more confirmation that yes, absolutely expect more PlayStation studio acquisitions, possibly in 2022. In fact, this leans into that rumor that we just talked about last week that Sony might have a big acquisition in the works behind the scenes. Now, we'll get to that here in just a second, but first let's go take a look at this statement here made by Jim Ryan. While speaking on the latest PlayStation podcast, Jim Ryan said this: "We're in a really good place with PlayStation Studios and have been for the past few years. The critical success and the commercial success of the games that they've been making, that has given us permission to invest heavily in content creation. We're growing our studios organically," which I know a lot of you are going to have fun with that statement, "and we're growing through acquisition. We acquired 5 studios during the course of 2021. We're in discussions with Bungie, and we have more planned. This is getting us into a virtuous cycle where success begets success." So there you have it. By this point, it's really just a matter of who rather than if. That is the big question, though. Who will they buy next? And I think that just all kind of remains to be seen. Obviously, there's going to be some fan speculation out there. There's going to be some rumors. But as we've kind of seen in the past, very rarely does these studio acquisitions leak out online. I mean, some of these studio acquisitions have just been out of complete left field, too. I mean, you take a look at something like Nix's. PlayStation acquired them last year. And I mean, who would have expected that? And somehow, Xbox, they're now attempting to acquire Activision Blizzard. I mean, who would have expected something like that? So, I mean, we'll just have to kind of see how all this plays out, but absolutely do expect some type of acquisition from PlayStation, maybe sometime here soon. If you do want to make any type of predictions, though, let me know in the comments below. Let's go ahead and talk about Xbox, though, because they just revealed 11 more Xbox Game Pass games, 10 of which will be for the first half of April, and then we also have a May game to talk about as well. First, though, let's go and take a look at the 10 games revealed for the month of April, and this includes Dragon Age 2 for Cloud. You have Plants vs. Zombie Warfare, once again, for Cloud. You also have Star Wars Squadrons for Cloud. Then you start to move on to the Cloud and console games, being Cricket 22, The Show 22, that will be releasing directly into Xbox Game Pass Day 1. Chinatown Detective Agency is also another Day 1 release. Then a couple of already well-known high-quality games, being Life is Strange True Colors, Lost in Random, and then here on PC you have Panzer Corps 2 and The Dungeon of Naholbach. So, this is actually a pretty good list of games. This is actually one of my favorite lineups that I have seen come to Xbox Game Pass here in recent months, as I personally want to play quite a few of these games myself. I mean, obviously you have MLB The Show 22 here, which is probably the big one that is launching directly into Xbox Game Pass on April 5th. This is a well-known and highly regarded franchise by this point, so if you like MLB, this is probably going to be a must-play game here. Beyond that, though, there's a few standouts here, including a couple of games that released not all that long ago, just last year, and I feel like that they might have been overlooked a little bit, including Life is Strange True Colors. True Colors is a new entry to the popular Life is Strange franchise with a completely new set of characters. You do play as Alex Chen, which has these psychic powers of empathy that allows you to have this ability to absorb the strong emotions of others. I mean, really, if you like Life is Strange, or if you like those cinematic narrative point-click adventure style of games, then Life is Strange True Colors is definitely one that you might want to check out when it releases on April 12th. Now, this other one here, though, this is actually one that I want to try out for myself personally, and that would be Lost in Random. This is also a game that released late last year that I was actually looking forward to. I talked about it on the channel, and I never really got around to playing it. Lost in Random, though, it seems like kind of this unique action-adventure style of game with a really interesting art style to it. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a Tim Burton world. I think that this game looks unique and interesting. And again, I think a lot of people kind of missed out on it last year. So with it coming to Xbox Game Pass now, this is the perfect time to check this game out. So absolutely do that as well when it comes to Xbox Game Pass on April 14th. Now there's also Chinatown Detective Agency. This one is actually releasing into Xbox Game Pass day one on April 7th. I can't really say if this is a good game or not just yet, but they do say that you play as an ex-cop who has just opened her own detective agency, and you have to choose your clients, travel around the world, and solve dangerous cases using real-world research. At the very least, this one does sound interesting and a perfect game to release directly into Xbox Game Pass. Actually, speaking about that, I did say that there's an 11th game here, and I did absolutely mean that, because they did announce Trek to Yomi, which is yet another day one release for Xbox Game Pass. Yeah, you just absolutely have to love it. But yes, Trek to Yomi has officially gotten a release date for May 5th. And this one actually has caught a lot of people's attention, as both PlayStation and Xbox have been advertising this game, which a lot of times, if you have both kind of advertising a game, that's a pretty good sign that there might be a reason for that. It is looking like a pretty cool and gruesome hack and slash game, to say the least. But yeah, look forward to that one as it releases directly in the Xbox Game Pass on May 5th. Of course, it also will be releasing on PC and PlayStation as well. Nonetheless, though, for you Xbox Game Pass subscribers out there, like I said before, I think you're probably going to leave today pretty happy. On to our final topic of the day, though. We did get to see more on Unreal Engine 5, as Epic Games did have their own event that lasted roughly around 40 minutes. I will leave a link in the description below if you want to watch the entire event, but I'm going to kind of go over some of the really exciting announcements made here at this event. I think to just kind of start things off, we'll actually first take a look at what Unreal Engine 5 is capable of. They once again did partner up with the Coalition, which is the Gears of War studio, to show off this new cinematic test demo by the name of The Cavern. This looks absolutely fantastic. I believe that they said that they were taking advantage of the metahumans that you can use in Unreal Engine 5, and you can really see it here in this demo. The character models and the animations here, they just look so good, and I think that if you're a Gears fan, you especially have to be excited about this. I think that this is kind of a sign for what's to come with Gears 6. I mean, there's a reason that Epic Games and the Coalition continues to collaborate on these tech demos for Unreal Engine 5. Do absolutely expect a showcase of a game with Gears 6, as the Coalition truly are technical geniuses when it comes to Unreal Engine. This demo, though, truly does look absolutely fantastic, and even more exciting is just for the entire game industry, because Epic Games did reveal today that Unreal Engine 5 will officially be launching for all developers as of today. So with that in mind, start to expect more Unreal Engine 5 games to be officially announced, and that is very exciting for fans. Interestingly enough, though, they also revealed a graphic that showed a lot of the studios that are taking advantage of Unreal Engine 5, and they also made sure to take note that Xbox Game Studios has a high rate of adopting Unreal Engine 5. Now, I think that if you've been following development for a while, that's not really surprising at all, but it is still interesting because there was a point in time that there was some fans out there that believed that Unreal Engine 5 was going to be exclusive to PlayStation 5. That was always such a strange and weird narrative, really, but I mean, here you go. Just to have further confirmation, yeah, it's not exclusive to PlayStation 5. It is a multi-platform engine. I really don't know why that was a story ever, but nonetheless, another thing that they did talk about here is a brand new game, and this is the most exciting announcement of the day, and that would be that a new Tomb Raider game is in development under Crystal Dynamics. Yes, Crystal Dynamics did confirm a new Tomb Raider game here using Unreal Engine 5. So if you are a Tomb Raider fan, I know I very much am a Tomb Raider fan, this is incredibly exciting to say the least. Now, unfortunately, they haven't revealed any type of gameplay. There's no type of release window or anything like that. This could still be years and years away, but the very fact that we're getting a new Tomb Raider game using Unreal Engine 5 and that Crystal Dynamics is returning to the Tomb Raider franchise once again. Some people kind of forget about this, but Eidos Montreal was actually the developer for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, so we haven't seen a mainline Tomb Raider release from Crystal Dynamics since Rise of the Tomb Raider, which, by the way, was absolutely fantastic. Really, I think that entire trilogy was great, but I know a lot of people do consider the first two games to be better than Shadow of the Tomb Raider, so I think a lot of people are going to be pretty excited to see Crystal Dynamics once again return to the Tomb Raider franchise. Now, I do understand that Marvel's Avengers didn't turn out great, but I think that that was more linked to it being a live service game, when I feel like that it probably would have done better as a single-player experience. Nonetheless, though, I mean, Crystal Dynamics, they are currently working on both Perfect Dark and now with Tomb Raider. Yeah, they have a lot going on, and very, very excited to see what they can do in the future. Either way, though, this was unexpectedly a very good event today with a lot of really exciting announcements, and the future of gaming just could not look any better. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though, and with those PlayStation 3 rumors floating around, I wanted to ask you all, if Sony managed to get local PlayStation 3 emulation working on the PlayStation 5, would that be enough for you to subscribe to PlayStation Plus Premium, which is $120 a year? And as you can see here, 21% of you said yes, 10% of you said no, but if they also got Vita emulation, then you would, and then 60% of you said no. So while the majority of you all did say no here, that still leaves 31% of you all that are willing to make that upgrade. That is exactly why Sony is doing what they're doing right now. That is actually a pretty good portion of you all that would be willing to make this upgrade, and this is exactly why it is so important for Sony to do emulation the right way. While I think that game streaming can be a good option to play games while you're not around your console, maybe you want to play it on your phone, you want to play it on PC, yeah, game streaming can be a good option. But at the same time, I don't know if the technology is quite there to convince people to invest in a $120 subscription if that is your primary focus, being game streaming. So again, I think Sony needs to do emulation the correct way. Yes, there's some rumors of them possibly getting the PlayStation 3. I would also like to see Sony maybe remember that the PlayStation Vita exists. We'll see if that ever happens or not. But I am crossing my fingers and hoping that they do eventually get, at the very least, the PlayStation 3 working properly with local backwards compatibility on the PlayStation 5. Now, for me personally, I'm still not exactly sold on the idea of these backwards compatible games being locked behind a $120 subscription. I still do firmly believe that Sony needs to offer at least one more PlayStation Plus tier that strictly focuses on backwards compatible games. Something like we see with Nintendo Switch Online. Make a $50 subscription service that includes all of these backwards compatible games. I think that a lot of people would probably invest into something like that. I still feel like $120 might be a little steep for backwards compatible games, but hey, that's just me personally. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.